President Joe Biden has so far refused to announce whether he's going to run again in 2024. But his wife has other plans.
Is there any reason for any of us to think that he is not running again? We've heard him say several times that it is his intention.
Are you not believing this, Darlene? I mean, how many times does he have to say it until you believe it? Well, he says he's not done. He's not finished what he started.
This, as strategists say, Ukraine could be the biggest test for potential GOP presidential candidates.
The great one, Mark Levin, is the host of Life, Liberty, and Levin, and he joins us now. Mark, thanks so much for being on the program. We always love having you. We'll get to the Ukrainian foreign policy side of things, but first, Jill Biden seems to be driving the train on whether Joe Biden runs again. What do you make of all of it?
Well, Joe's not done destroying the country, is what I make of it. I mean, open borders, fentanyl pouring into the country, massive inflation. The labor market's tightening now. The Fed is increasing interest rates to try and counter the disasters that he's created. We have the potential for war all over the world, not because we do too much, but because they see a feckless, weak president, and they're right. They claim to support the environment. He hasn't even found time to go to Palestine, Ohio. They don't support the environment. They've undermined law enforcement. We have crime in this country we've never seen before. We have a massive, massive debt, thanks to him and the rhinos in the Senate. So Joe's not done, you see. And the nation needs to unite around Joe. And, of course, Joe's propaganda and rhetoric is very uniting, too. Even during the height of the Civil War, Lincoln didn't talk about Southerners the way Joe Biden talks about Republicans today. And he saves his hate for Republicans. He doesn't talk about the communist Chinese this way or the fascistic Russians this way or the Islamists in Tehran this way. No, no. He talks about Republicans, and he condemns Republicans for Jim Crow, which is very odd since Joe Biden was involved in Jim Crow and segregation and racism and opposed the integration of our public school systems and so forth. He's a very nefarious man. He's issuing executive orders like Benito Mussolini on equity. Equity simply means one thing. Certain groups of people in this country will be benefited. Certain groups of people in this country will be attacked. Let me just say this as a footnote. You want to know the real reason Joe Biden is not in Palestine, Ohio? Because it's not part of his election base. These are mostly white people. I'm just telling you the truth. They're mostly Republicans. They're lower middle class. They mean literally nothing to this man. They don't have a civil rights movement defending them. They don't have an environmental movement defending them. Hollywood's not coming there. Most of the shows on MSNBC and CNN don't give a damn about these people. That's why Joe Biden's not in Palestine, Ohio. So he would be a disaster. He's a one-man wrecking ball. He was the dumbest man in the Senate. He was the dumbest vice president we've ever had. And now he's the dumbest putative president that we have ever had. So I'm done on that.
So it's interesting because a lot of people, I'm one of those people that I've as a former political spouse, I looked at what Jill Biden has done to push her husband to run. I think it's disgusting, frankly. I don't think he is cognitively there, and it keeps getting worse. But my husband has spoken to some pretty well-placed Democrats, and they have told him that Joe Biden is definitely running, and Joe Biden thinks everything is going really great. He's high on how great things are going for him, which seems so unbelievable.
He's delusional. He's got several news networks that tell him he has single-handedly saved democracy while he's undermining it. Look, the left is ideological. That's their religion, as my wife says. Their ideology is their religion. Religion is not their religion. And Joe Biden is always has been narcissistic. He's always been on the lower end of the IQ level. And so he's persuaded himself that he's the greatest president since FDR. And look, they have these phony historians that go into the Oval Office, tell him to keep it up, how great he is. The guy gets up and he says, we need more inflation to beat inflation. Well, now we're going to pay for this. They talk about all these great successes he's had, these bills he's passed. He's built that he's passed this for two reasons. One, he got favorable rulings from the parliamentarian in the Senate so that they could drive bills through with 51 to 50 votes. And number two, they've had Mitch McConnell help them on two huge bills and about 18 other rhinos. That's how they got his great agenda through, not because there's a groundswell for bankrupting America, attacking capitalism, and redistributing wealth.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.